My name is Emily, and I've always found solace in the quiet beauty of winter. But the events that unfolded in December of 2007 turned my love for the season into a nightmare I can never forget. It was supposed to be a relaxing winter getaway. My fiancé Jack and I had rented a cozy cabin nestled in the snow-covered mountains of Vermont. We both needed a break from the hustle and bustle of city life, and the cabin seemed like the perfect escape. The locals had been friendly, though they shared cryptic warnings about the mountains. We laughed it off, eager to start our vacation. The first few days were idyllic. We spent our time exploring the snowy trails, building snowmen, and curling up by the fire with hot cocoa. The cabin was rustic but charming, and we quickly settled into a comfortable routine. However, as the days grew shorter and the nights colder, a sense of unease began to creep in. It started with small things. At night, we would hear faint whispers carried by the wind, but whenever we looked outside there was no one there. The footprints in the snow around the cabin grew more numerous, though we hadn't seen any visitors. I chalked it up to the wildlife and the isolation playing tricks on us, but the feeling of being watched persisted. One particularly cold night, as we sat by the fire, the power suddenly went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. We grabbed our flashlights and huddled together, the temperature dropping rapidly. Jack decided to check the generator and I stayed inside trying to keep warm. Minutes passed and Jack didn't return. Panic set in as I called out his name, but there was no response. Grabbing my coat, I ventured outside into the biting cold, the snow crunching beneath my boots. The generator was a short walk from the cabin, but it felt like an eternity in the dark. When I reached the generator, it was running smoothly, but there was no sign of Jack. My heart raced as I searched the area, my flashlight casting eerie shadows in the snow. Then I saw them, fresh footprints leading deeper into the woods. I followed them, the cold biting into my skin, my breath visible in the freezing air. The footprints led to an old, abandoned barn I hadn't noticed before. The door creaked open as I approached, revealing a dark, musty interior. I called out for Jack, but only my echo answered. Just as I was about to turn back, I heard a soft whimpering sound coming from the back of the barn. I rushed over and there he was, Jack, huddled in a corner, pale and shivering. He looked up at me with wide, terrified eyes and whispered, "They're here." Before I could ask what he meant, I felt an icy breath on the back of my neck. I spun around to see a figure standing in the shadows, its eyes glowing an unnatural blue. The figure stepped forward and I could feel the temperature plummet even further. It reached out a skeletal hand and I grabbed Jack, pulling him to his feet. We ran from the barn, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. The snow seemed to close in around us, the wind howling like a mournful wail. We stumbled back to the cabin, slamming the door shut behind us. The power had miraculously returned, but the cabin no longer felt like a refuge. We barricaded ourselves inside, the whispers and shadows pressing against the windows, never relenting.